Hello, it's Gary. Jolly Roger Ukulele. I am assuming that I am live online right at the moment, and let's find out if that is true or not. If I'm going to click here, we're going to start the actual.
Hello,
Oh,
it's
yep,
Gary.
I'm online. This is so exciting. Okay, so a couple things. We're in early, so it is currently 6:55. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm not going to say anything important, and we will wait until exactly 7 o'clock, and then we will get started. So if you're watching the replay of this, just fast forward through the next 5 minutes. Start at 5 minutes from whatever time it says on the ticker right now. I have the chat bar open, and Kat is already in, and she said, hey, Kat has been trying like heck to participate in an ensemble class I'm offering right now, and the YouTube has not been cooperating, but I'm figuring out the bugs little by little until it's going to work this week, Kat. I feel confident, and I have I'm going to post the last two that we missed as just regular videos. So in any event, if you are logged in and we are live, say something in the chat bar. You do that by just logging into your Gmail account and using YouTube. If you don't have a Gmail account, you're out of luck. Let's see. It's been a long time since I've done a live broadcast. I was never very good at them in the first place. I haven't gotten any better, so please don't have any illusions that this is going to be a great video to watch. But the purpose of this will be to dive into the arpeggio techniques, what we need to do with this to make this way better than the way we usually play it. So we'll be talking about mostly right hand stuff over today. In the meantime, while we're just wasting time, let me talk about the website just a tiny bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on here for a second. Let's see if it comes up. So here's the website, and it's lovely. And if you scroll down, the reason it's called Jolly Roger Ukulele is because this little skeleton guy is public domain, so I didn't worry about copyright. What we're going to be working on here is, if you go into the menu here, they call it a hamburger menu. I think that's hilarious. Any changes I make to the website is supposed to show up here on news, ukulele arpeggios. That's what we're working on today. It's supposed to show up here and then kick you out an email. This week it did not kick you out an email until I forced them out this morning, and so some of you are probably watching the replay going, he didn't tell us, and which is probably true. I kind of didn't tell you, but on the news page, that's where you'll find the updates and changes to the website. Next thing on here is the schedule, and that's what we're doing right now. On the schedule, this is the times that I think are right for all of the different locations if you want to watch live. Obviously, if you don't watch live, you can get to the video through the links I'll show you, and you can do that. Under lessons, I'm going to be redoing all of the lessons from book 1. I have all of them posted now. I just need to actually do the video for them, and so I'll be doing that this week. Book 2 is a mess, so if you need something off of book 2, you got to send me an email. Jumping Flea Arpeggiator, that's what we're working on now. I wrote this book back in 2013, I think, and it's great. It's really, really good. But a lot of things have changed since then. A lot of things, the way I handle arranging and stuff are different now, and so I'm updating the website with new 2026 files, right? So that's these here, and so I want you in 2026 to start using these as your arpeggios, and we're going to be getting rid of those as the arpeggios. I'm going to keep that book forever because I think it's great, but we're also going to have updated sheet music. The songs and the techniques are basically the same. The other place that you should notice on here is under here, song of the day. That's where we're going to be using this tool as our real schedule. And again, there's the times that you need to be here if you want to do it live and chat on the chat bar. And then in this table here will be the YouTube link. That's how you get to what you're looking at right now, either live or recorded. And then over here will be the sheet music and the MP3 files of the sheet music, so you can listen to it before you begin to play. I will tell you that the G1 is posted, and I don't know why it didn't pull up on this computer. That it is posted, so you may see G and D showing up on your computer here. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to clear my cache here, obviously. But if you can't get it there, definitely go to Lessons and Jumping Flea Arpeggiator, and next week's sheet music is already posted here as well. So those are the two places we're going to be talking about mostly tonight. There's other sections of this website. Every video I've ever done about ukulele is on this tab. This is for members. It's kind of broken right now, so members, you have to send me an email. Arranging and composing, there's a lot that nobody reads here that's really, really good stuff. And then teachers, I'm going to be building your websites, rebuilding it. What's there is right now is too many words and not enough action. Don't worry about orchestras unless you're in my orchestra, and I think that's pretty much it on this page. There is a section of holiday songs that we worked on this year, yeah, so that's what's on the website. Okay, so the big thing for you guys is Song of the Day, and that's where your sheet music will show up. And again, this right here, there's stuff here, but it's not showing up on my computer at the moment, so it's probably something to do with the cache. All right, so that's how the website's working. Hopefully that gives you at least a bit of an overview. It is 7 o'clock, so let's get going. Let's go over to, oh, that's me. Don't look at that guy. Eesh, get rid of him. Let's turn that off. Here I am. All right, Pam is here. Hey, Pam. Happy Sunday. And yeah, it has been a really long time since I did any online stuff. Many of you know I moved to Albuquerque under not necessarily very good for situation, and it has been a real struggle down here. So I'm finally kind of getting baseline back to where it was, and it's going to be great. So that's that. All right, let's keep these lessons kind of short so that you can spend more time playing and less time listening to me talk. C major arpeggio is what we're working on, and hopefully you have it in front of you. So if you don't get it in front of you, because that's what we need to be looking at. I'm looking at the January 9th, 2026 version of the C major Jumping Flea Arpeggiator. Arpeggiator is a joke. That's it means making a robot out of arpeggios, turning you into a great arpeggio player. First thing you'll see, baritones, we'll talk about those separately, right, a little bit at the end, but the skills are going to be the same, so we don't need to go over every detail with the baritones. I will post on the Song of the Day site me playing each instrument. So I'll post a version of me playing at the high G, and then a version of me playing with the baritone, and that way you can just double check what I'm playing. It seems more or less like what you're seeing on the paper. On the C major for ukulele, that's what I want you to look at right now. Notes tabbed on the 4th string will sound an octave higher than notated on high G strings. So I've had to start putting this on here. I got enough like people who are addicted to regular sheet music that they're just insisting that I do this the correct way, and forever I didn't do it the correct way because you don't have to, but I'm starting to do that. And the problem with high G, the fact that string is higher than this string directly below it, pitch-wise, this is lower, this is higher, that seems backwards. It causes a complete catastrophe in sheet music, and so I will always be putting that new little notation up there. The standard notation will be perfect for low G ukulele. However, these songs are really written to be played on high G ukulele, and for you, you're going to focus in on using the tablature. You should focus in on using the tablature on ukulele anyway. And so the big takeaway here is, hey, we've got some standard notation for those of you who need it. It would be better if you use low G if you're going to read that exactly. If you use high G, just know any notes that show up on the 4th string are going to look lower on the standard notation than they are in real life. So that's what that little note means. Now let's talk about the other things on here. Oh, we get all kinds of people. Diane is in. Hey, Diane, good to see you. your Song of the Day page looks a bit different. Okay, I updated it about 10 minutes ago, and so you should, your Song of the Day page probably has next week's songs on there as well, I'm hoping. First timer, Lords Valley, Pennsylvania. Hey, Jane, glad to have you in. So now we've got the sheet music there. We've got our ukulele in hand. Several things that you should probably know about me is that strap, right? You really need a strap. You're going to be playing with both hands now, okay? For those of you who have ukulele in the past and have done it in different ways, you've done a lot of this. You can get away with not having a strap, but when we get into finger picking stuff that we have to do on this website, you really need a strap. So it's pretty straightforward. Go buy one, buy a strap, drill a little tiny hole in the bottom. Here's your pin. You screw it on and you tie this on with a string, like just plain old shoestring up here, and there you go. You don't want the strap that holds on here at the hole. They'll ruin your ukulele and they don't do the job anyway. So that's why you'll see me playing like this and talking like this, because it's actually strapped to my body. The other thing I want to make sure, I've talked about this in book 1 a lot, but if you're new here, your ukulele should be about a 60-degree angle and your thumb should be back here, and we should never, ever, ever, ever for any reason see your thumb. Okay, so now you're in good playing position. We're going to talk a little bit about this hand, but this is not really what playing arpeggios is about. It's really about this hand, okay? So let's take a look at the sheet music. Quarter note equals 120. You can ignore that. That's what the computer is going to play it at. That's not for you. And then there's a bunch of rests on measure 0. I always put a measure 0 in, because if you're playing with the MP3, you like to hit play, and then you need 4 beats to get your hand ready to go. So I always put a measure 0 in on my sheet music these days. At the university, they told me to stop doing that, and so I'm going to do it even more. And then you'll notice all the measures are numbered: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah 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 blah. Then how many measures do we have today? 37. Again, at the university they said stop putting measure numbers on every measure. I will always put measure numbers on every measure, because it saves us a lot of time, because we're going to talk about specific things in each measure. Next thing, let's talk about your chords, because you really do need to know them in order to pull off arpeggios, okay? So your C chord, hopefully that's part of your wheelhouse. Use your ring finger. Okay, there's that. When you are strumming, right, when you're using your index finger in strumming, you're going to play where the body and the neck meet together. I'm saying this out loud at this moment in case Kathy is watching. Kathy says, you never said anything about this on your website. When you're strumming, strum where the body and the neck come together most of the time, because it sounds prettiest. You can strum down here, right, but it sounds different, right? So you want to strum here, but for arpeggio picking, or for most every finger style, you got to get away from the fretboard here. So you got to be down here, okay? And I would even recommend getting down underneath the hole so that the sound can escape. Okay, it's a little tighter down here. Initially you're like, I don't think I like that sound, but you will come to love that sound. If your hands hold above the hole, it's fine, but really what you want to do is get where that sound can escape and be shared with your audience, the beautiful noise you're making. Let's see. Frank, hey, how are you doing? It has been a very, very long time. Almost a year, I think. Maybe more than a year. Not quite a year. But I'm back. I'm going to be doing this every Sunday. So we'll see what happens. So first chord's a C. Okay. Next chord's a G chord. Remember, index finger has to be above middle finger. When we're new, a lot of times we do it upside down. Middle finger, ring finger. Middle finger above your index finger. That's wrong. Okay, index finger has to be on top, middle finger and ring. That's your G chord. Okay, next chord on here is an F chord. Okay, hopefully these are already part of who you are. Okay, and then that's the whole first little section there from measures 1 through 8. Okay, there's a new chord at measure 11. It's a G7. Okay, so index here and then middle and ring there. Okay, so those are the chords. There's one other chord we have to learn, but it's easy. So pay attention. G chord, index finger above the ring finger. I'm sorry, index finger above your middle finger. Sounds very different than G7. Now, you're like, ooh, I don't think I like that. In music, 7th chord means a lot. The 7th chord is telling you what key you're in, because it has to resolve to the main key. right? So G7's pushing you away from what they're doing into the main chord, which is C here. So G7s will show up a lot when you're playing in the key of C. This won't matter to you one hill of beans until you start arranging, until you start composing, and then it will be very important that you know this stuff. So Gs, you can always take a G7 and turn it into a G and it'll sound fine, but very often you cannot take a G chord and make it a G7. It will not always work. And so in this case, in this type of playing, we're going to be very specific about I'm going to play a G chord or I'm going to play a G7. And know that weird tones in music are very important. What those do is they help tell a story and drive your music along and make you very happy that you're actually doing it. If you listen to Bach, he's one of the best, where there's all these weird wrong notes, and then they resolve, and you're like, oh, I see what he's up to. Sneaky feller. That happens in jazz a lot too, except they have a whole lot of wrong notes before they get kind of the right note at the end. And so it's part of music. Get used to having things not sound great. It's fine if you sound terrible. For many years I did, and it's just a thing, right? I don't sound good today, right? Well, I'll keep working. It'll get better. The other chord is measure 14. It's your A chord, A minor chord. Okay. Okay. Beautiful chord on the ukulele. All right. Now, so those are the only chords in the song. Those are usually get the first 4 chords. If you're not taking my if you're not learning from me, most ukulele teachers start with those chords. It's the wrong way to start, by the way, but that's where they started, and that's probably where a lot of you started. So coincidentally, somewhere over the rainbow, right? Those are those chords. Those are the chords that everybody, not everybody, but too many people get started with. Not great, but that's what it is. Now, let's talk about right hand. We have lots of things to work on in here, and this is going to separate you from your neighbors at anything in ukulele. You've got to get control over this hand, and we go through life like Lego figures, and we're just grasping things, right? And when we start having to talk our fingers into doing all these other cool, wacko things that we have to teach them, they rebel, and that's why we have to do arpeggios. The other reason we do arpeggios, if you like to sing, there's only so long where this is going to be fun, right? Right? And then we need to turn it into something much more beautiful by making our right hand smarter. Dolly Parton is the perfect example of this. She's got those big old long fingernails, and she has some sort of simple weirdo chords that she uses over here to deal with those fingernails. But on this hand, she is just a finger picking maniac, right? And that's what, and then she sings over the top of it. So even if you just love singing and strumming, arpeggios are super great for you. And then of course, if you're an instrumentalist, you have to be able to have these in your arsenal. So all right, so C chord, put it on. Okay, measure 1. The tablature says play a 0 on the 3rd string, and then a 0 on the 2nd string, and then a 3 on the 1st string. Okay, now watch what I'm doing with my hand. Thumb, index, middle, index. This is how I'm going to play this. It comes up a lot. Hey, could I do index? Could I just keep my 4 fingers on the 4 strings and never move them? Yeah, you could, but it's a really bad idea. Okay, you don't want, if you want your thumb involved in the activity, and you kind of don't want your ring finger involved in the activity unless they have to be, right? So let's put our thumb on the C string. I don't know if you can see that. Get the lighting where it's right. I don't know. I can't really see it. You got the idea. C chord, C string, thumb. Okay, underneath the E string is my index finger. Underneath the E string is GCE. Underneath the A string is my middle finger. Okay, now then notice they're all stacked up here, really awkward. Get them in a 45-degree angle so they don't. This guy can go down, and this guy can come up, and that guy can go up, and they're not going to run into each other. Okay, so the first measure: thumb on the C string, index finger on the E string. You're holding your 3 down on the A string, making this a G note, and then back. Okay, we do that twice. C, D, 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 din, 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 din. That's what how measure that every measure for the first 8. That's the same pattern is going to happen. Okay, thumb, index, middle, index. Now, if you want to do index, middle, ring, middle, you can. right? It's something to do. It's not something I recommend, but you can. I would say you're much better off. I'm getting all blurry here. Come on, computer. They'll find me eventually. There you go. Again, you want your thumb involved because it's really beautiful tone it comes out of it. And if we can avoid using our ring finger, we will. Okay, so dum 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 dum. Measure 2, we put that G chord on. Okay, and now same exact pattern. 2 3 2 3 2 3 2 3, and it's really, I'm holding the chord, so it's thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. All right, and then the next measure, F chord, put it on here, put the F chord on, same pattern, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Now, comes up all the time. I'm not playing this 4th string on this measure, but I'm holding an F chord, so I don't really need to hold down there. I'm not required to. Well, we have 2 different conversations about this. When you're new, put the chord on. Put the chord on, put the chord on, put the chord on. It's teaching your hand. That's what an F chord feels like, okay? When you are an advanced player, I'll be asking you, do you really need to put that here since you're not going to play that string? And you're supposed to say as an advanced player, yeah, because then this will resonate as an A rather than a G, and it will make my whole ukulele sound better. That's what you're supposed to say. What you'll say as an intermediate player is, yeah, I don't need to put that on there. And so in the beginning, for sure, use the full chords here. Okay, so I want to play measures 1 through 4 with you. Okay, so it's a C chord, and if you're on baritone, just play the tablature. You will sound very different than what we are, but the technique is the same, right? So let's do that. Thumb, put your C chord on, G chord on baritone, and then do thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, G chord, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, F chord, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index, and then back to your G chord, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Now, here's the cool part, okay? What we just played was, if you were at a ukulele strum along, C2, 3, 4, G2, 3, 4, F2, 3, 4, G2, 3, 4, and it's great fun, like everybody loves doing. And then you go have a beer, right? But to get it much more musical, thumb, index, middle, index, thumb, index, middle, index. Anytime I'm at a strum along, that doesn't happen very often, but when I do go, I want to play arpeggios the whole day. And it's pretty common for me to be playing, and eventually the little lady sitting next to me will say, boy, your ukulele sounds really good. Well, it doesn't sound, the ukulele doesn't sound great. I'm just playing something different than she's playing, and together we sound amazing, right? And so that's why, so again, it's all about this hand. We're just playing all regular chords over here, but we're using this hand in a smart way. Thumb, index, middle, index. Hey, Jan. So much to learn about chords and keys. In fact, I just had an email with Jan. Hey, man, if you're in C, if you see a G7 on the page, it's probably in the key of C. Probably. That doesn't always work, but probably. All right. That's measures 1 through 4 is what you're going to do. Same thing exactly, measures 5 through 8, except look at measure 8, the very last note. Is a quarter note. Okay, so look on the standard notation, eighth, quarter. That tells you there's something a little different here. On measure 8, don't goof up, right? You're going to fall into this pattern, bum, 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 and then you're going to have goofed up. You want to remember that 2 is your the 2 on the first string. Where is it? Is your last note. So it's dun, 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 dun. A little bit longer note, and then you got to jump into the next idea. Okay, so that's the first thought with arpeggio playing, is we're going to start teaching these fingers on this hand to live independent, happy lives. Okay, very important concept in instrumental music, pretty important concept in singing. Okay, if you think of Adele, someone like you, I think his name is it, the one where she's stalking her ex-boyfriend, on the piano, he's just playing an arpeggio, the same exact thing through the entire song, just da 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 da, and she's singing over the top. It works, people. She made $1 zillion off that song. All right, now we've gotten through measure 8, learned thumb, index, middle, index. Now look at what happens in measure 9. The pattern changes. Not only does the standard notation look different, but the tablature all of a sudden has a different pattern. That's how you know you're doing arpeggios, by the way, is with patterns. I forgot to mention in measure 1 I wrote claw, and that means you're going to be playing with this. Could you pull this off with your thumb? Yeah. You don't want to do that. You do not want to play that way because your thumb is really, really accurate and really beautiful sounding, but it's too slow, and you're not going to be able to play that fast, right? With just your one thumb, dun, 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 right? And that's why I get into squabbles with guitarists who want to use their pick. It's just slower. It's slower. And so if you have multiple picks on this fingers, use those, and you can play faster. All right, so that's what claw means. Use your claw shape. For those of you who are advanced players, pay attention to your wrist right here. I see this one all the time. With this thing kind of backward, right? What you want is your wrist to be slightly elevated, slightly. Don't do this, right? But you want it to be a little bit up so that this is nice and straight. Same as this hand. My wrists are always nice and straight. And the reason you want this wrist a little tiny bit elevated is that gives your fingers the better attack angle. And when you have the better attack angle, you're going to have better sound. Okay? So pay attention when you're playing that this wrist is slightly elevated and that this wrist, of course, is straight. Okay? And the thumb is nowhere to be seen. Good. So I'm kind of doing it right, mostly. All right, let's take a look at measure 9. Now what you see in measure 9 is a block chord, 0, 0, 3. Bam. Use thumb, index, and middle, and we're going to play all of those together. Bunk. And then you've got thumb, index, middle again. Bum, bum, bum. But they're quarter notes, so remember, slow way down. You've been playing whatever speed you were playing at the top, you're now going to play half that speed. Bum, dum, dum, dum. And then you grab your F chord, okay, and full F chord, but yes, you're not going to play that string, but you still put the finger on. Bum, 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 bum. And then you got your G7 right here. Bum, 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 bum. So the G7 happens twice, right? It's creating some tension, right? And so you see on the sheet music from measure 9 through 12, that's just a little bit different than what you've been playing before. I put double bars on both ends of that to let you know, hey, this is different. And then at 13, different chords and a little bit different pattern. So it's going to be a block chord, bump, and then middle, index, thumb. Okay, then your A minor, go ahead and put the full chord on, even though you're not going to play that fourth string. Bump, middle, index, thumb. F chord, same thing. Bunk, middle, index, thumb. G7, bump, middle, index, thumb. Okay, double bar, new section, new idea. And now we're going to do two block chords. Blunk, blunk, thumb, index, A minor, blunk, blunk, thumb, index, F chord, blunk, blunk, thumb, index, and then 20, blunk, blunk, thumb, index. So it's not about necessarily the chord itself, but about the pattern while you're holding the chord. Okay, so each of those sections has a little bit different pattern. Now, here's the truth. When I wrote this book initially, I was teaching myself how to play ukulele, and I knew that I needed to do all of these different finger things because on piano you do all these different finger things, and so I was trying to come up with different patterns and different ways to make my hand work, and all I knew was the basic chords at that point. So we got sort of basic chords in the key of C and some as many different ways of plucking these strings as I could think of on that particular day. It gets much more interesting the further into the book we go, and so hopefully you guys will stick with me through all 30, and you will not only will it turn you into a much better ukulele player, but it will also teach you about composing. Janice is in. Good to see you, Janice. Yeah, I'm on tomorrow in Sydney, so she's from Australia. Isn't that exciting? All right. Important, if you don't know this notation, at the end of 20 you see the 2 lines and the 2 dots. That means you go back, and in this case you go back to measure 1. That will not always be the case, but in this case it's true. So you play this page twice. When I do my performance videos and stick them on the website, you'll see I play this page twice. Okay, no difference between baritone and ukulele on this one at all. The G, except that in baritone you're playing in G major. Your chord names are different, but the shapes are all identical. Okay, so I encourage all of you, as you become more advanced players, to stop thinking of this as a C chord, but as this shape. Right, this is a shape, because on baritone that's a G chord, right? Your G chord's all complicated and weird, right? There's a super easy. Okay, your F chord is a delight, right? Just very lovely. That's a C chord to them in baritone. So the idea is to stop spending so much time worrying about what things are called and really be thinking about what shapes you're going to be making. There's only about 10 shapes you really need to know on ukulele, and I'll do a whole video on that. And it is helpful to know that you don't need to know the name of everything in music. It will just make you uninteresting. All right, so that's page 1. Page 2 got a few more notational things and some more right-hand things we're going to be working on. So we go back to the C chord at the top of page 2, measure 21. And some notation things. One, I write slower. In most sheet music, they write RIT, which means ritardando, and nobody speaks Italian anymore, not even Italians. And so I figure I'm just going to write slower from now on. So you're going to play this section slower. Quarter note equals 100. Again, don't pay attention to that. That's what the computer is going to play it at, not what you have to play it at. The other thing you see is a block chord, right? So on the first page we were playing them plunk, plunk, but now we're going to play all 4 of them, and you see the little wiggly thing? That's what that is, okay? Now, when we put chords down vertically like that, 0, 0, 0, 3, you have choices, right? You could play real fast. You could play with your index finger, right? You could play with all 4 fingers. You could do, you could kind of roll all 4 fingers, right? That's a rolled chord, lovely. And in guitar notation, when the people put that on there, they're telling you, take your claw and roll it, okay? But ukuleles, we've come to a little different understanding of that. That's going to be a down strum with your thumb, and you want to hit every string should sound out, okay? You should hear every string there, and don't go real fast, right? Just and dig in your thumb, make some noise. Okay, that's what you're going to do there. Next note's a 5. It's all by itself. So pinky up on 5, and then back to 3. Okay, so that measure there is strum 3, 5, 3, and now you're going to grab the G chord, put that on, and again, same thing with your right hand. Big old strum down. This is a half note. Notice that in the standard notation there's holes in the middle of those notes, so it's worth 2 beats, and then you hit the 3. Okay, notice you don't have to move anything. Okay, next measure, you're going to put your F chord on, put the full F chord on. Super important concept here called a rest stroke. 2, 0, 1. And my thumb, okay, I'm going to do everything I can for you to see it, is actually sitting on the first string, hanging out like it's on a hammock. Okay, rest stroke. Hangs out there, and it's actually stuck to the string, so the string does not go off. But when you do that, this last string you hit kind of jumps out a little bit. Wham, wham, and you can hear it really nice, right? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so a rest stroke is really critical. We're going to be learning rest strokes hardcore next week. Okay, so 2, 0, 1, and then you play the 1, 3. Now this 3, a lot of people will reach for their ring finger here. Not wrong. Pinky's way easier. Okay. By the way, you're going to train this pinky to behave. A lot of people avoid using their pinky for a long time because they don't like it. Just tell your pinky, look, you gotta get this. So I would recommend F chord, 1, pinky, O is on the first string, and then you've got your G7 chord. Again, I want to hear all of those strings. And then notice it's a whole note, right? This notes with holes in the middle and no sticks on them. Those are whole notes, are with 4 beats here, and you better count them in your head or you're going to come in too early. 2, 3, 4, go. Okay, so count whole notes and half notes in your head or you'll come in too early. On the recording on the MP3, I put in a little wood block beat so you can hear it. And so on these long notes, it'll help you count them. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, measure 25. It says hold the C chord and do this, but I know that, but you don't really need to hold the C chord here because you're just going to play 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, that's it. Now go grab your G chord. Notice 2 measures back, you played a G7. Now we're going to drop in that G chord, and we're going to do again another rest stroke. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thumbs coming down, resting on the first string because I'm not going to play it. Okay, in Spanish guitar they call it rasgueado. Don't you love that sound? Rasgueado. That means you're doing a rest stroke here, and then your next note is 0, but you're holding down a 3 here. So take that off. Play that 0. Dun, something's about to happen. It's a weird note that doesn't belong in the chord, so we have to go do something with that. And that's how music works, right? We create a little drama. And then at measure 27, we got the F chord again. 3 and 2 rest strokes here. 1, 1, pinky right here. Okay, and then an open. And then another G7 for 4 beats. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what's going on there. I play it a little bit slower than the first page so that you can sound like, hey, this is a dramatic moment. The melody is actually better in this section because it's not just pure arpeggio. It's actually trying to tell a story here. And so I wrote on the sheet music under measure 21, thumb down. That means this, right? Get your thumb hanging up and down, and that's going to end up being lovely, okay? And that section will be very much more comfortable for those of you who I have taught because we start with a lot of thumb, right? And we don't spend nearly enough time learning to claw pick. And don't confuse that with claw hammer. That's a very different technique that we use in banjo. And you can use it on ukulele, but it comes from banjo. And so claw hammer is a different thing altogether, but we're just doing claw plucking, okay? All right, now, the rest of the song is pretty straightforward. 29, you're going to play faster, right? And you're going to put your C chord on. And again, you're done with that 4th string till the very last chord in the song. So again, your thumb is going down not on the 4th string, but drop it down to the 3rd string. C chord, E, G, C, E, A, right? C, E, G, C, E, A. C, okay, these ones. It's a G note. All right, and then you're going to play what it says. Okay, so back to claw. Get your C chord on. These 3 strung. You got to pluck a block chord here. Bunk, and then middle, index, thumb. A minor chord, block chord, middle, index, thumb. Next one's an F chord. Okay, don't just leave that finger planted and just add your index finger. Plunk, dun, dun, dun. G7, plunk, G, dun, dun. And then 33 is the same thing, sort of. 2 block chords, plunk, plunk, and then thumb, index. A minor, 2 block chords, plunk, plunk, thumb, index. F chord, 2 plunk, plunk, thumb, index. And then 36 is the same, but it says slowing there, right? So the pattern's the same, but you have to get some drama into your ukulele. So watch this. Bum, bum. Right? Lots of drama. Ring finger slides forward to get into C position, and then just beautiful. Okay, so when you are most songs when you're getting toward the end of the song, you're going to slow down. You're going to be like, okay, I need to make the audience get ready to give me a thunderous applause. So you want to create a little drama there. So the drama that we're talking about here, there's multiple things going on. G7s or any 7th chords are super important in music. They create some tension that's going to get released. Okay, so pay attention to those. Also, pay attention at measure 21. You're slowing down and becoming more melodic in that section. So you want to try to make it beautiful through there. I should write dulce on there, right? And just really make it nice and pretty through that section. Then when you go back to 29, you're back to your arpeggio picking. You're trying to make that like let your audience know, hey, we're bringing it into the hanger, we're sliding into the last minute here. And then as you get to the end of that song, slowing, bum, bum. Right? You can either do it real quiet, do it real loud, right? Probably not. You could do it as a staccato, Probably not. But give it some love. Make people be like, oh man, that is really nice. Now, here's the other nice thing about arpeggios, and particularly the ones in this book. I didn't know what I was doing at all back when I wrote these, and I know a lot more now than I did. But they're actually pretty good. And the best part about them is that you can take what's on the paper and turn it into something actually quite musical. And when you play it for other people, they're going to be like, wow, that sounds really good. And they're going to think you really know what you're doing, right? You're just playing this basic chords here: C, A minor, F, and G7. That's just your basic C major, key of C major chords. Nothing spectacular there, but because you've got control of your right hand, it's going to sound spectacular, and they're going to go, wow, I love that song. What song is that? And you say Bach's Cantata number 712 or whatever, right? And they're going to be like, oh, Bach, yeah, I like him. It makes you sound like you're playing something very fancy and very legit, even though you're just playing an arpeggio with some random chords in it. And so that is the C major arpeggio, a little bit over time, but I'm trying to keep them to half an hour, guys, so that you can come, get the lesson, and go on. I will post a performance video of me on high G and me on baritone. Those of you who are on low G, just play it the same exact way as it's written, but instead of that sound coming out when you hit the fourth string, it'll be bong. It'll be that dark G sound, which you know that you love, and you know that it's lovely. I did write this for high G ukulele, and it does sound better on high G ukulele. So if you own a high G ukulele, I'd want you to play these on high G ukulele, but they sound just fine, and the skill set's exactly the same for baritone and low G ukulele. So and of course, if you live down in the sticks and your ukulele's tuned to A, it'll be fine for you too. Let's see. I think that's what I wanted to say today, and I started off this video, once it processes the posts, with a little bit of information about the website, so that you guys that are using the website can get kind of caught up with that. The member section and book 2 are a wreck right at the moment. I'm aware of that, and I will get them fixed. But please send me an email if you need something from them. I'm happy to send it to you that way. And again, I want you to play arpeggios for this summer, right? Because I know by the time you get to the A sharp minor at the end of the book, you're going to just be a fantastically much better player than you are today. So hang in with me. See you next Sunday, and good to see all you guys in chat. And Laurel and Trina are here. How exciting! And Jean and Jan and Janice and Frank and a cat. Looks like Diane I saw. So lots of good people on. Lots of good people. Some of them I know. Some of them I only know by their name. And thank you guys for tuning in. Tell your friends. Your Jolly Roger Ukulele is where you learn to play this at the high level. Okay. Peace.